Hi, I've done this one before. I probably took that picture not last winter, the winter before, on a bike ride along the River Wandle. It's got everything I like in this sort of painting. It's got trees, the skeletons of trees in winter. It's a cold day, and we've got parts of it which are sort of covered in ivy or whatever, that sort of creeper that lives on trees. That is very bushy. I'm not sure what it is. But as you know, I'm not very botanical, but it's a lovely stark painting. But at the moment, we've got that in autumn colours. So I'm going to come up to my, sorry about all this, coming up to the painting here. Sorry about all the, oh, it's gone upside down. Right, okay, this is my Canon camcorder. Lovely camera, but I haven't got it on a boom where I can have it above my head pointing directly down, nor can I freeze the video and carry on when I've had a cup of tea as if nothing had happened. I can't do that. It records as separate videos, so that's why we have to start and finish them in one go. Right, okay, the palette is the usual. Just a word about the hake and the method. The method basically is the use of a large brush. The whole point established by Ron Ranson is that the larger brush you use, the less you are inclined to fiddle with it and poke and prod your paintings to death. So the brushes we use are a couple of I've got an inch and a inch and a half inch flat brush, acrylic brush, very good for sharp edges, roofs and so on. Two of those. One has escaped, gone somewhere, but I don't know where. I work in an absolute mess, as you can see. I go from acrylic to watercolour, and I just was all I've got it. Just ran out of space really, and I'm using this John Herring or the Herring easel. I believe that's what it is. It's a metal easel, very good quality. That's the half inch acrylic brush, and one or two riggers. That's the number 3 rigger. Paper's Fabriano, but the whole point of the hake, as distinct from using little sables to cover great expanses of paper and scrubbing away at little pans of paint, was overcome by Ron Ranson using a large butcher's tray, twice the size of that, and squeezing out his paint so that it was fresh. So he could get to it quickly. It would dilute with the water very easily, and you can get some lovely quick washes on, and you can use thick paint as well. So this is lemon yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey and burnt sienna. I've added the burnt sienna, but the rest are student quality Cotsman watercolours. They come in 21 millilitre tubes, and they're more than adequate for what we use them for. But I keep these wet or damp so that they're quite soluble, or readily soluble with a bit of water. So we can get to some good rich paint when we need it. So that was the whole point, and of course the wetting wet. So we'll wet the paper all over. I'm painting at about a 30-degree angle here. Let's just get that wet. Ron Ranson would wet his paper with the colour rather than water it first, but that is what I'm doing. So need a cloth. So this is a Ron Ranson hake. It's about 4 or 5 inches longer than that, but it's too unwieldy. Ron Ranson, the Ron Ranson hake by Pro Art. it's about two. It's just a bit less than 2 inches, about 45 millimeters, something like that. So just a warm over everything. I'm not going to do any drawing. Just put that in, and a wintry sky, so a bit of Payne's grey, bit of alizarin, no blue on this one. That paint there is just a little bit dry. So let's just put that in the water. Something on that. I'll just increase the cloud intensity just a little bit. But I don't want to do any more than that. That I find quite pleasant. Right, I'm going to dry that off a little bit now, so take your headphones off. So it'll just fix the washes rather than let them go into cauliflowers at the moment. But I want to dry brush the autumny colour, so a bit of yellow, a bit of lemon yellow in that mix, a bit of burnt umber. Because the trees, let's put the bank in first, I think. The trees, the leaves on the trees are not red or very brown, it's a reddy colour. They are sort of yellowy, light brown. It's when they go on the ground. When they fall on the ground, that's where they turn to the darker browns and reds. And then we're putting some dark detail in there. So a bit of Payne's grey, a bit of alizarin as well, mix in with that. And just put the bank in. And some bit of detail in here. Vary the brush and vary the strokes. We can go a bit blue in the background, but something like that. And the bank could come across here. So just a little bit of London suburbia, South London suburbia, which in its checkered history has been a heavily overused industrial revolution mills and so on, water mills, and we just put a bit of blue in there, I think. Now I'm not going to try and do a portrait of this. I don't do a portrait of anything, as you know. I just use the photograph as a guide and just build it up. Now we've got this dark green here on some trees. Oops. And a bit of light inside that. Right, and then we'll put some more of this in the trees here. got that nice and yellowy, greeny, browny. Don't put too much air in that because that's quite solid in the photograph. So we won't take too many liberties, but and more dark in there. So good, rich, warm, dark. It's hard to get that sort of intensity if you're using dried paint. I'm going to put a little bit of darker contrast in there. That background. Okay. I want some light in this area. I've closed that a bit too much, but I'll put a bit of sienna, a bit of umber. Just drop that in there. Yeah, I've got a bit too dark with that bit, so I'm going to just surround that with a bit of dark green. Okay. Right, now we'll come into we'll finish off that bank and then we'll get all this stuff in here. Just a tangle of stuff. Too wet. Try and get a sort of an autumny colour, but with plenty of yellowy green. Just using the edge of the brush. Just want the lemon yellow in there now, with a bit of Payne's grey. Just to show that the leaves are actually turning, and then we'll come along with that sort of colour. And I can do some of the skeleton of the trees. I'll put a bit of red in there. And I can have some fun putting the calligraphy in. And there's some up here. Coming up on the bank. Right, just I'm going to have to reclip this. These are actually going off the top of the picture, but I'm not going to do too much of that. Right, they're more distant, but I'll just put a bit of form on that, because the shape's quite reasonable. Right, okay, so that needs a bit of calligraphy. I'm just going to reclip the paper now, and then we'll crack on with that bank on the left hand corner before we get in with this sort of stuff. Right, so we've got a variety of, got a bit of dark around here, so I'll put that in. Brown and grey and green, make a nice dark green here. So that will be the negative shape of all this grass and reeds and stuff in there. Okay, So, remember watercolour you've got to paint from light to dark, but a bit of burnt, plenty of burnt umber, a bit of grey, but loosely painted in here. Bit of yellow. There are some logs in the water there, I'm not sure I want to put those in. I'll get some dark greeny colour in here and some warm and all sorts of colours in here. I'm going to etch through it with my nail on it. Oh, what was that? Okay. I'll just go darken that a little bit more there. Okay, clean the brush. Right, now we've got to scrape out some grasses in this. Do a lot of this. Right, that'll do for that'll do for that. I'm getting carried away. I can't stop. Right, okay. I'll give that a dry now, and then we'll start putting in some of this stuff in the back. I need a bit of a colour there before I dry that. So we'll put a bit of sienna in there. Just fill the gap in. I'll clean the hake. I'll use the hake for some of the trees. Right, headphones off. I wanted that bit to be even lighter than that, but it sort of works by darkening around it, the negative shape of it's highlighted. We counter changed that. So I've got to simplify all these trees. So this is sort of a dark grey. So. These sort of trees, branches going fine. Coming up there, like that. These are quite thin, the chunks on some of these. Just lots coming up. I have to do something with it, but I'll just. Now that's running down there. I don't want that to go too far down there. Let's just take some of that out. I'll just flatten the board a bit. Okay. And it won't run down so much. When your hake splits, just gently bring it back together, and the hairs back, just by stroking it on your palette. There's a bit of a tree coming into there, but I'm not going to put it in. I've forgot it, but we've got enough there. You have to bear in mind too that these are demonstrations, they're not painted as masterpieces. If I get a masterpiece out of one or two of them, then all well and good, but generally what you see is what you get. They don't get worked on afterwards. I've got a great pile of YouTube demos. One day they'll see the light of day, but so no, these ones, because they're a bit further back, we'll add a bit of blue. A very fine line between touching the edge of the sharpened hake. I hope these will dry a bit lighter than I'm putting them on. And I'll put a bit of that green back in here. It's dark, very dark, sombre green. Just picking up the darks. Right, it's back to where we were. We just got a bit of, whoops, too thick. I'll use the rigger for a bit of this. Now that's gone a bit. A little bit. Oops. Oh, nearly dropped the brush there. Just touch those a bit there. Okay, so that seems to be right. Now I'm going to put the reflections in now, and the trees will actually show in this. Let's just wash it with clean water, but don't scrub it, because what you would do is move the paint. So we'll just let that soak in a little bit. Take off the bottom bit. Right. Oops. Need your rag. I've got another one here. I'll put some brushy stuff on here as well, but I just want to just get that colours in. Bit of dark in there. I'll leave a bit of a margin between the reflection and the bank, but we have got this umbery bank, bit of yellow. Now get that dark back in there. Right, and we've got some of the, oh well, let's go down a bit. Just a little bit strong. Let's just make that a bit less distinct. Just trying to, oh, it's a bit dry there, just, okay. Right, just trying to show a few little sort of ripples in the water. Right, I'm going to dry that off now. Headphones off. Right, I want to put in just a little bit of dark detail on this. Where were we? Oh yes, on here. We'll separate that from the from the reflections. Right, bit of green. Just a little bit of detail. That's about it really. clean the brush while I remember. And put signature on it. We can put some more brushes on if we wish. We can have some winter crows. I will just put a little bit of right. Okay, but I think that's about it. So it's the River Wanderer again, or an impression of. Let's put it in the ivory mount. I was asked today about the mounts. Where do I get them from? I cut them myself from I get a full imperial sheet, which is about 30 by 21, something like that, 2 inches that is. And I've got a mount cutter which cuts the bevel mount cutter. They're easy enough to do, but I have done a lot of them. Well, there we are, so that's the best I'm going to do on that. So the River Wanderer, autumn, late autumn we call that. Few leaves left on the trees, but lots of branches. But, and I have said many times before, you can work on these till you're blue in the face. Really, you never come to the end, but it's knowing where to quit without fiddling and fussing it to death. So let's bring my camera around a little bit. So there we are, from a bike ride, another bundle. This is a little bit muddy. I think I will. I'll moisten my brush, my inch brush, and just lift out a bit of wind ruffle. Bit of a dodge, but it just adds a little bit of interest, just that flick. It's a bit of a dull painting, but it's a dull day. We've had 3 days of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, of rain and dark and dingy. So that's how I don't really feel like that, but I'm trying to paint it. I don't want to paint a sunny day when the clouds are zipping overhead. So there we are. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye bye.